some company actually look for skills, but not your degree. So that's what big tech is actually doing. Google do not look at your degree anymore. Google hires you based on what you can do. Apple hires you based on what you
I am able to talk about today, which is education. I was lucky enough to study in 3 different countries.
I was front bencher as well, but I was back bencher as well. But we see in Pakistan education system, back benchers are like they are not, like you can say, very much good in getting good grade, right? They are considered to be like not good students according to school's criteria, or according to education's criteria. What we have seen in real life, that those backbenchers actually achieve more in life most of the time. So,
Hi.
hello sir.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Okay, so this is my first broadcast,
Alright.
and I think it won't be my last with you.
I hope not.
Okay, so you said that you wanted us to speak about something that I think I am able to talk about today, which is education. I was lucky enough to study in 3 different countries. So I studied in Egypt, and then I studied in Malaysia, my bachelor degree, and now I'm doing my postgraduate in the UK, Sussex University. And so I have seen different styles of education, and you thought that it would be useful for your audience to hear about it.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll just add something in that. So because I'm from Pakistan, and I have been with people from Egypt, and I realized that education system of Pakistan is almost similar, exactly similar, you can say, what education system in Egypt is, because it's based on the memory system, it's based on the grading system is similar. If you have to become engineer, there are exact same steps. Everything is similar. So because both of these third world countries have a same education system, and now you had education there, and now you had education in Malaysia, you had education in here, and now you're actually working as an educationist. So my question is, I would like to know a comparison between what do you think, that how was the education system in Egypt, and what kind of education system do British people follow, and what are the pros and cons, and what are the basically I just want to know a comparison between both of the education systems.
Okay, so I'm not going to say that this one is better and this one is worse, because everybody's expecting, the UK system is way better than. But I wouldn't say that this is the entire case. It's not strictly true, because both have pros and cons in my opinion, and both produce like very highly intelligent students, and also produce low attainers, or students who didn't do very well. However, there are some main characteristics, some main features for both educational systems, and they both appear in so many cases that they can be considered a pattern. The first thing is, as you said, it's memory based. So the education in Egypt, and I think many third world countries, can be memory based. So basically the test, or to measure how effective your follow up on the subject and your progress in the subject is based on your memory. What can you recall in an exam conditions or in a test conditions? So the assessment is entirely based on recalling, but that's not the case in the UK. It's more of critical thinking. It's more of did you really understand the topic or not? So the assessment in the exam forms of essays, it's in forms of writing, criticizing a concept, or making a comment on a scenario or a case or something like that. So the assessment methodology is different. And so the other thing is the balance of subjects. So when you are speaking about subjects in Egypt or Pakistan or many other countries, the focus is on academic subjects. So when you focus on academic subjects, maths, chemistry, heavy academic subjects, and linguistics. So we are speaking about foreign languages and the rules and grammars and punctuation. So the focus is leaning toward that in Egypt, but in the UK, what I noticed is that there is a healthy balance between different subjects. So students are allowed to study music, physical education, rugby, and football. The curriculum as well is integrated in the educational system. So the school encourages that and promotes it. So the student have a chance to excel in what he likes, which is healthy, and it also creates a well-rounded student, which is a pro in my opinion. So that's a point for the.
My question is, I mean, as we have seen, as you mentioned as well, that in both education systems we see like great examples. Like people who studied in both education systems, we like great examples, brilliant students. But what we have been observing from last, let's suppose, from few centuries, we don't see like many innovators from third world countries. There are exceptional cases. There are always exceptional cases, but we don't. I mean, I think the education system in our third world countries are actually focused more towards creating the skilled labors. People say that this was the education system that we are following was actually designed during industrial revolution to create skilled labor and to create the people who can like go into factories and work from 9 to 5. While we see here, like you see more innovators in first world countries, though it is UK or America or Australia or Canada, you'll see like more innovators coming out of this system.
Okay, yeah, I get your point. First of all, that's not 100% true, because in higher education you see a larger ratio, and statistics say that like, there are postgraduate students from all over the world, especially from third world countries, who come to study to do their postgraduate degrees in America, Canada, and follow on their studies in these universities, and a lot of the scholarships are targeted at them. So in a way, what you're saying is basically the innovation is coming from this part, not the home country of those entrepreneurs or innovators, which is true, and it have a very very straightforward explanation. It's the environment, it's the incubator. So the environment in we know about the UK, so I will focus on that. The environment in the UK is encouraging for innovation. It's encouraging for research. There are enough funds. There is enough time. There are enough institutions who promote this kind of approach. So, for example, if you would like to do your master's in anthropology, and you haven't studied anthropology before, there are institutions who would help you to gain enough knowledge to do that. However, that's not the case in Egypt, as far as I know. The other thing is the language barrier. So, as you know, when you study a subject in your native language, mother tongue is an obsolete term now. Nobody tends to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
So native language.
Exactly.
If you are studying a subject in your native language, you tend to be creative in it. You can reach levels of creativity.
Exactly. Especially in Pakistan, because so there is Urdu medium and there is English medium. So everyone wants to go to English medium because they want to like be adaptable for the whole world. They want to like be accepted in the whole world. So our struggle, the first struggle that we in English medium face is first learn English, and then learn about biology, and then learn about chemistry, and then learn about mathematics. So, I mean, to understand the core concepts of biology or mathematics or chemistry, we have to first learn English and be good at it.
That would be the biggest mistake you can make. In order to gain in-depth understanding of the topic or the subject that you are studying, you need to study it in your native language.
All right.
Whether that language is Urdu, whether it's Arabic, whether it's whatever your native language is, if you want to gain in-depth knowledge of the subject, whether it's mathematics, biology, chemistry, as you said, you need to study the basics in your native language. And you can do that easily because these these this knowledge has been around for centuries. So there are books in all the languages that are explaining it and talking about it, and that kind of dilemma that you just mentioned. Why you need to study the language and then study the science? When you reach a certain level of knowledge in a subject or a topic, the resources become limited in your native language. So, for example, if you are studying about chemistry and you want to study about something that is specific, for example, you want to study about chemical engineering, distillation, and organic compounds, the resources that you can find in Arabic are quite limited. And that's when you need to understand the subject in English.
How do you think that like because that's the story of past? How do you think that with the help of AI and with the help of modern technologies, how we gonna like cross this barrier? Because very recently there was a NVIDIA CEO. I don't know if you know him or not, but he's a trillionaire. So NVIDIA CEO said that people don't need language anymore to write code. They don't have to learn English to learn code. They can just tell an AI agent in Arabic or he said that programming languages are
obsolete. Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah.
I think I saw his video, but he's partially correct, and the need for an in-depth understanding of the coding or the programming languages is no longer needed. However, you need the basics in order to be able to ask the AI to help you. So there's a great terminology. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what you're going to ask, the AI can't answer you.
Exactly.
And that in-depth understanding comes from the holistic approach. So you can use AI. I encourage my students to use AI sometimes, but in order to gain that in-depth understanding for coding or any other, because AI can solve chemistry questions or can do a mathematic problem. It can solve it for you. However, you need to be able to have that critique in understanding if this answer is correct or not. You need to be able to show that you can criticize the answer, and AI does make mistakes. And I've seen it when I asked ChatGPT to write about specific things. It can make a lot of mistakes.
With time, that will progress. I mean, we all know that AI is actually progressing with time. But my main question was, is AI going to like help to overcome this barrier for the students whose native language is, let's suppose mine is Urdu, yours is Arabic, maybe people living in Africa have a different native language. So can they like learn the knowledge of science and technology in their native language? The translated knowledge of science and technology, and then still become a great thinker or a great philosopher, a great scientist by like with the help of AI can do publications or even can be a spokesperson in their own fields in their native language. So do you think that AI actually does break those barriers?
It does. Technology in general does break those barriers. It's so different now to when I was a student. It's when I was a student, smartphone wasn't a big thing. I'm running at the risk of revealing my true age, but smartphones wasn't a big thing back then, and Googling was kind of recent thing. So actually, I had to go to the library sometimes to do the proper research.
Yeah.
Now it's at your fingertips. Basically, you can use your smartphone and Google something, and then you will get the answer. Again, this have pros and cons. So in a way, it makes the process easier. But also it makes it harder to differentiate between understanding something and pretending to understand something. So it gives you this kind of shallow understanding about topics. So if you have a question about the Roman Empire, for example, and basically when did the Roman came to the UK? When did the Roman emperor visited the UK? You can just search for that information and you will get the specific piece of knowledge that will tell you, okay,
Yeah.
he visited in this year.
Yeah.
However, when you do your research by reading, you come through a story. It basically tells you the chronological approach, at least for this short period of time, and then you know more information about how did they come, when did they come, what did they do when they come, because you got dragged into this story in your research. However, like this kind of like focused piece of information that like, okay, it's this year, and
Yeah, got
that's done.
So since you are actually like training, you can say very upper class students here in UK. So what difference you see? I mean, students in general here are actually equipped with more technology, equipped with more knowledge, maybe as compared to students in third world countries. So if we compare as ourselves as when we were students and the kind of interact that we had, and if we compare with this current Gen Z or even Gen Alpha, so what sort of difference you see between us who had less technology and had no introduction to AI and were in a third world countries, or people who are currently, with AI and all those technology are in third world countries, and then kids who are actually here in a first world country in a developed society with all those equipments. Do you think that there is kind of a chance? Do you think that
The fields are
Yeah.
leveling? Yeah, I think that it's more about motivation now. If you want to study and excel in your field, I think the fields are basically leveled now. The school plays a part, yes, in encouraging and kind of creating that motivation, but the family as well is capable of doing that. And as you would expect in any part of the world, there are students who are eager to learn, who are enthusiastic about learning. They want to learn, and there are students who have no interest, who are not motivated. And of course there are some systems to kind of like attract them, intervene when they need to, and support them. That might not be the case in Egypt or third world countries because of lack of resources, but I think for a motivated student the levels are equal, and the potential here and there is almost the same, because both of the students have access to the resources which are available online. So there are like so many resources that are available online that can help you in your pursuit of knowledge.
Understood. So basically, you're trying to say that any student who's based anywhere in the world has the same kind of opportunity to compete on a global scale.
That's a big statement,
Okay.
To say that it's the same opportunity, but the differences are very slim.
Very slim.
I would say that with the current resources, the key difference is motivation. If you are motivated enough and you're really looking into it and trying, you can get the same education level as anyone in any other country.
Okay, I have a question. Let's talk about. Once a student actually passes that phase of study and then he goes to professional life. So imagine you are running a company, or imagine I am running a company, and I have to hire a developer, a programmer, a coder, or a project manager, somebody, and I can hire it remotely. So what should be your priority? Will you see that, okay, this person he studied in UK based university, and this student he had all of his education from Egypt or from Pakistan or from India or somewhere.
Yeah.
So which candidate would you prefer based on from where they studied?
Okay, I like you, because I don't have to imagine. I have worked as a project manager for a while, so in terms of the criteria to choose which one should I hire in the project or add to my team or so on, it depends on their ability to do the job, so whether they are competent or not, and that comes with practice. I think experience plays a significant part. So in terms of my choice criteria would be experience, if they have done similar projects before. So if I want to move on another project in Python or Ruby, if they have done projects previously in this language and I can see samples of their work on GitHub or any other platform that they can share their work on, then I would be more inclined to choose them over, regardless of where they study. But the second point, and it's equally important, is communication, ability to communicate. I mean, my native language isn't English and neither is yours, but we can communicate in English. So if they can reach to that level of proper communication and understanding, we can understand each other. And if I can understand them,
Okay. Yeah. So same question. If we change the job role, because the job role that I asked for, that I asked in the previous question was actually like more like tech job role. But if you have to like hire a marketing manager or chief marketing officer for our company, will that still matter? That where did that person got degree from, or did he get degree from Pakistan? If you have to hire like on executive level.
Yeah, it's the same concept, and it actually depends on the position itself. So, for example, if I'm a multinational company, Procter and Gamble, for example, and I want to hire a marketing director for Pakistan and India area, I would prefer someone who speaks Urdu with basic knowledge of English. The education is most of the education material are available online. And in terms of university level, yes, there is an advantage of having a university degree in a speciality, and it does come in handy at a certain level. However, when you are comparing for a working team, you compare based on that in addition to the experience. So I will lay it down with an example. For example, the current CEO of Alpha, which part of Alpha is Google.
Yeah.
So
Alphabets.
Yes. So he studied in India.
Yeah.
And then he did his master's in Stanford, if I recall correctly. So basically there is a balance here, and he reached the highest level of executive position. It doesn't get any higher than that. So this kind of let's say discrimination is actually not valid anymore.
Yep. All right. Cool. Okay. Perfect. This was a good session. Okay. So being an educationist, what would you advise to like parents of kids who are based in third world countries? And I mean, please just briefly explain.
I get you. The experience that I would share with a parent who wants a proper education for their son or daughter and so on. Actually, one of the reasons that I decided to professionally study education and teaching techniques is because I had a son. So I wanted to know exactly how can I guarantee that he's getting a high quality education, and what are the gaps that I should avoid in his education. And the best advice is motivation and inspiration. Students who are motivated, if they want to know about the subject, if they have genuine interest to study and learn, then that's 60% of the battle done. So if you can get your son or daughter to be interested in the subject, interested in educating themselves, interested in knowledge, interested in school, then you have won 60% of the battle. The second thing is respect. If you teach them to be respectful to the institution, to the school, and to their tutors, then they are building a good relationship with them, and then they will gain more benefit from their class time or tutoring time. The third thing is always have resources for your son or daughter. So the reason that students tend to use social media or videos or go to TikTok or whatever is because they are bored, and they are bored because they have nothing to do. And the solution for that, in my opinion, is finding something for them to do. So if you have enough resources, and there are so many resources for parents and students nowadays available. For example, Khan Academy is a great resource for videos. So if the student is finding more things to do that are related to his education, then he's more likely to do that instead of wasting his time on pointless videos or pointless social media.
Exactly. Okay, so I just remembered there's a term in Pakistan that we usually use. It's called backbenchers, right? So I was one of them, but I mean, I was front bencher as well, but I was backbencher as well.
Okay.
But we see in Pakistan, in Pakistan education system, backbenchers are like they are not, like you can say, very much good in getting good grades, right? They are considered to be like not good students according to school's criteria, or according to education's criteria. But what we have seen in real life, that those backbenchers actually achieve more in life most of the times in our education system. And we see that in our schools, backbenchers are, we can say, more ignored. Teachers say, "Oh, he's backbencher." I mean, he's not good in tests, and the behavior of teachers is different
Yeah.
towards them.
Okay.
What do you think here?
I get it.
Yeah.
It's that culture doesn't exist in here because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter where you sit in the class
Yeah.
at all,
Yeah.
because the structure in of the class in here is quite different. Basically, you can have them in groups, in circles.
Okay.
You can have them in benches.
Please just show us the
and
shape. How a class is.
It's different. It depends on the teacher and its technique and his style or
Okay.
her style.
Okay, you can actually close the mic.
Yeah, basically you can have your class sitting in front of you. You can have them sitting in groups.
Okay.
You can change the sitting while you are in the middle of the class, just to adapt to an activity or a task that you would like them to do, which is quite cool actually. And you can do that. So back benches and front benches, I saw what you mean there. And actually, the diversity of the educational system here is something that I wanted to mention actually. So it's a healthy balance between academic subjects and music and recreational subjects and co-curriculum. So I think the focus in Egypt and maybe in Pakistan as well is on academic subjects, physics, these kind of like heavy academic subjects. But in India there is also a focus on rugby, football, cricket, music. As far as I know, each student has to choose a musical instrument to learn and use while he's in secondary school, which is great. It creates a well-rounded student.
It's shocking for me to know. Sorry, it's a shock for me to know that, I mean, the concept of backbenchers is not. It does not exist here in these schools.
No, it doesn't at all.
Wow.
You can sit wherever you want. Actually, I have some classes that my backbenchers are my best students, and it doesn't really matter because
in general, backbenchers are usually like more intelligent. In Pakistan, we see like backbenchers are more intelligent, but they're not interested in the formal education.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So. That's a totally different question because it's about challenging.
Yeah.
So keeping students challenged, which is a very important thing. So you can be in year 8 or year 9 and you already know the topic and you think that you have reached a mastery level that is more than your peers. So you know more about the topic than all your classmates. So that's the concept that you want to speak about.
Not even that. Not even that. But I mean, most of the times, like backbenchers in Pakistan, I mean, in our education system are sort of, you can say, not interested in formal education. They don't want to do any quiz. They don't want to do any tests.
Okay.
They just want to just sit on the back.
Yeah, we have some of them here, and it's getting more challenging actually, because they see this disparity between the education that they are getting and the reality that is what's actually happening in the world, and who's getting more views and more interest and so on, and that reflects in their performance in school, and some of them get frustrated because they don't see the value in the education that they are getting. That's your question.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so here is the thing: education in itself is a value. It does help you to go further in life. It does help you to become more aware of your situation. It does help you in the long term and in the short term to achieve more. And that's the duty of the educational institution and the duty of the teacher to explain to his students. It takes a good conversation and it takes a good argument to convince students that basically all what you are studying in school is going to benefit you in your life in general, regardless of what career you choose or what kind of job you do in the future. This education in itself is a value. It's same as learning
Sure.
colors.
Yeah.
Why do you think it came to my mind when I was playing with my son? Why do I need to teach him colors? When will he use colors? Can you know when? Can you tell me when will you use colors?
Please enlighten me.
It's a life skill. It's
Yeah.
a life skill. That's why. That's the same reason you need to know multiplication and division.
Mm.
It's the same. It's exactly the same concept.
Mm.
It's embedded in your method of thinking. It's embedded in the way that you handle things, and you can see great difference between someone who's highly educated and someone who stopped his education earlier in life in how they deal with problems, and the difference is massive.
I might disagree here because there is a huge debate in Pakistan, and especially we see that watching Silicon Valley season.
Mm.
So that character, he says that he was the billionaire character. He says that okay, colleges are actually an expensive joke on poor and middle class. They don't have the real value. You should trust on yourself rather than a system that actually produce like mediocre people for the industries. So in Pakistan, there is a debate that say that degree is maybe not required, and you can actually achieve greatness, or you can achieve success. What we consider as success, financial success, even without having a degree.
I think that culture came from Mark Zuckerberg and Bill
Yeah,
Gates,
exactly.
who
Dropouts.
were dropouts. They were dropouts from Harvard University and the highest institution
Yeah.
in the United States of America, and it's a different story. So here's the thing. I believe in statistics. Let's bring the statistics and see what is the ratio of richest people in the world with and dropouts, and we compare them. The most recent statistic that I have seen, and you can put numbers in the video description or in the comments. I think 3% of the richest people in the world are dropouts or have no formal higher level education. I think 3% or
and when we say rich people, I mean if we compare the list of billionaires. So
list of billionaires. So like just 3% of them.
You say that all right.
Don't have higher. And here is another. Would you prefer a physician or a surgeon to perform an operation on you if he said
that field is different? Well, the surgeon.
Would you like a self-taught engineer to help you build your dream house?
Why not?
Okay, well, you are a very brave man.
Yeah.
But I will tell you why not. He wouldn't have the basic knowledge of structure, stress, strain, loads. I'm not a civil engineer, but there are things that he needs to have understanding for. And that's why in the UK they have standards. So you can't simply go into a profession just because you think, I'm self-taught. You need to learn from someone who's more experienced. So for example, if you want to become an electrician or an electrical engineer, you can't simply self-teach yourself these. There are resources and you can read, but there will be knowledge gaps because you didn't have a mentor, you have formal education. Of course, it can be expedited, so you can have it faster rather than 3 or 4 years. You can have it in 2 years. Yeah, that's a valid concept. However, you need that kind of formality in order to be able to say who's competent and who's not.
On the same level, we see I have seen a lot of people who have master's degrees and even PhDs.
And they are still idiots. That's fine.
That's a very nice word that you use.
That's completely fine. There is a major difference between 3 things. Okay, let's get this clear and boundaries very clear. There are people who are certified. There are people who are competent, and there are people who are experienced. Okay, certified means you have a certificate that says you have a potential to do something. So if I tell you, he's a certified electrician, that means that he has a basic knowledge that allows him to practice being an electrician to do electrical maintenance or perform some electrical repairs. Competent means that he can actually do it with his hand. So in terms of being certified, that doesn't mean that you are necessarily competent. Being competent is proven through the task. And then when you combine both certified and competent, you get someone who's experienced. And that's you want. That's what you trust, and that's what you have confidence.
Okay, there's a debate that we have in Pakistan. I want to ask, like, all these problems that we are facing, that our education system is facing. So,
I
in
think
Pakistan,
it's all education systems that are facing at the moment. Because here is the thing, and you'd agree with it. We're going off topic a little bit, but it's quite necessary. Programming is one field that you can do trial and error in, so minimum viable product, and then you can try it and then adjust it, and then version 1, version 2, version 3. I don't want to go into too much details, but programming in its nature is a field where you can try and
yeah.
Life is not like that. Other fields of life are not like that. So self-taught programmers can be as good as
degree holders,
programmers. Won't be the exact same, because degree holders have some basic understanding. They have very solid foundations of computer science and concepts and logic that self-taught won't or could to get, but they can reach very similar level, and they can get very outcome.
Yeah, I'm asking this question because in Pakistan we have this thing, like, people say, okay, degree is not necessary, skills are necessary. If you have skills, if you're skilled enough to do something, so you can be more successful in life. Other than on the other side, we have seen like a lot of people with degrees, like millions and millions of people every year who do masters from universities and literally jobless, cannot even add any value to any company. That's why no one hires them. So people say that, I'm sharing this problem that we are facing in third world. People say that, okay, what's the point of doing a degree when you cannot get hired based on that degree, when a company actually looks for skills but not your degree. So that's what big tech is actually doing. Google do not look at your degree anymore. Google hires you based on what you can do. Apple hires you based on what you do. And again, I'm talking about the technical sort of jobs. When it comes to more managerial, more executives, so still degrees do matter. But I'm talking about the 80% of people who actually go into some sort of a trade or some sort of technical skills. So what is your approach as an educationist in UK? How do you see people?
How did they reach? Okay, let me ask you a question. How did they reach that level that Google or Apple are going to hire them through
self-learning, using YouTube to
great.
Yeah.
Self-learning.
Yeah.
Is it still a form of learning? It's just uncertified form of learning.
Yeah.
Certifications give you that validation. So think of it this way. If you are applying for a job at Google or Apple or any other or a startup company, and you have 10 certificates from 10 different universities, and then when you actually go to the test, you fail, and someone else who doesn't have certificates who goes to the test and then succeeds, which one had a proper learning experience? Which one was educated?
The second one. Yeah.
So education and certification are two very different things.
Okay.
However, the certification gives you validation, and the integrity of that validation is becoming less and less, and that's the root of the problem. The certification needs to reflect the actual knowledge, but then because universities want to encourage students to join and they want to raise their ranking, so they lower the bar and they start accepting lower standards, and that's where the reputation of the institution becomes important. So for example, if you are a graduate from Stanford or Harvard or Oxford or Cambridge or these top tier universities, the integrity of the university is tested in the quality of their graduates. So when you speak with someone who's graduated from one of these universities, you can see the difference in their way of thinking. You can see the difference in the way that they address problems, and they are still higher than in much larger rates than self-taught. Self-taught is the exception. Self-taught is good self-taught programmers are the exceptions. They are not.
All right. Okay. I think again, let's come back to topic. Okay. So, what the next questions that you wrote that you want to discuss?
I think you wanted to speak about AI.
That's what we have done, I think, already. My next question can be like, how much change you think that after this AI revolution in Gen Alpha's approach towards education?
Okay.
Do they want formal education or do they not?
Yeah, they okay. That would be a good topic.
All right. So what do you think? Like, I mean, after this whole revolution of AI, what do you think that the approach of Gen Z and Gen Alpha here in UK, are they still interested in getting like formal educations like graduate and masters? Or, I mean, if they are aware of like what is, I mean, we are moving towards artificial general intelligence and those kind of highly skilled robots. What is Gen Z's approach?
Will AI take most of the jobs or not?
Yeah.
That's a question of the century, and everybody's asking. We are currently in a battle with AI and how we are going to use it.
Okay.
And this generation, this that we have now, are the ones who are going to decide whether we win that battle or not. And it's quite serious. And basically, if our students understand the gravity of the challenge and how they need to be able to lead AI, not be led by AI, to decide which humanity is going to be taking. And to be honest, it looks like we are kind of failing in teaching them that in the right way. So AI is there to help us, not to think instead of us, not to think for us. You need to be able to criticize the AI answer and see for yourself if it's correct or no or wrong. You have seen hallucinations from AI. I have seen hallucinations from AI. But a student who's learning and who's asked to write an article about the Civil War, and he doesn't know, he never read about the Civil War in America, and whatever the AI will spit out, he will accept. So
exactly.
So it's quite a dangerous game we're playing here in terms of what data has been fed to the AI model, because the AI model is a trend conditional loop, and basically if it's accepting that and it's saying the truth or not, and how much power does AI companies have over the media and the brains of young generations, because they assume that whatever they are seeing or hearing from AI or YouTube or TikTok is absolute fact, and that's quite a dangerous situation to be in. Your challenge is to convince them that they need to criticize a model that have been trained over thousands and thousands of terabytes of data, that it is still fallible. It still make mistakes, and that's quite an important idea to embed in the.
You know, there's an interesting fact in Singapore. Very recently, one of Singaporean government's representative, they are actually now advising, and actually they are granting budget and funds to people over 40 years to like go back to colleges and schools and learn new skills, learn AI-based skills, because they are saying that their skills that they have already are obsolete and not usable anymore. So they're sending them
like
back.
Customer service.
So
some job will become obsolete with AI.
So question is, how this current generation people, I mean a student who is like 15 years old, how is he gonna compete, because things are moving so fastly. No one knows what GPT-5 will have. I mean, if you have heard that podcast, I mean, if you watch that podcast of Lex Fridman with Sam Altman, so it's kind of scary. I mean, Sam Altman has like revealed so many things about AGI and about like GPT-5, the improvement coming in GPT-5. So how do you think that how we can prepare our students and younger generation AI proof.
Mm.
So like they can thrive in the professional fields. I'm
That's-
talking about like mediocre,
Yeah,
normal average people.
that's,
I'm not talking about the exceptional ones, the business people. I'm talking about the average workforce.
That's a £1 million question, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's quite what the whole world is trying to figure out. In my opinion, and I'm not saying that this is the correct approach or not. I think that jobs that actually require brain power, that creativity, that requires human touch, that require the interference of humans, are going to be the more resilient against AI. Okay, having said that, what I mean? So let me start answering this question again. Okay, so AI will take over the jobs that are mundane and repetitive, and they are based on pure knowledge, not based on creativity, not based on the human touch. So, for example, the AI will never be a better cook than
Of course,
human.
yeah.
The AI will never be able to explain an idea better than a human does. The AI will never be able to paint a picture better than a human does. And I'm speaking about new ideas, new pictures, new
New kind of, new Picassos.
yeah, this kind of genuine human thoughts that are coming from our creativity and our individuality cannot be replicated in AI. So yes, AI can produce a good article, but it cannot produce a novel that is with the same quality of Shakespeare or Charles Dickens. Or
it can mimic that.
It can mimic it,
Yeah.
but it will never produce similar quality, because these novels are coming from human experience, from they lived, from things that they have seen, from things that they have experienced. And AI doesn't have kind of experience. It just have a collection of data. It cannot regenerate that feeling. And when you read essays that are written by AI, you can tell that it's written by AI.
Do you think that we are not expecting that kind of disruption, and that because Bill Gates said, okay, don't think that what's coming in 2 years, think about what's coming in 10 years. So in 10 years, these students who are like 15 years old now, when they will go to market and they will be 25 years old, fully ready for the professional lives, do you think that their job roles will be same, that the kind of job roles that we have now?
No, it will be very different. I completely understand that it's it's going to be a different story. Some jobs will disappear and some jobs will appear. I mean, the limitation that we had, look, think of it this way. Before inventing the calculator, maths could progress only to a certain level. After inventing the calculator, the human mind became capable of doing much more. We opened new doors, and we can. Another thing, before computers became available in our homes, what was the situation before that? When computers were invented, I think one of the CEOs said that if it continues like this, humans will work only 4 hours a week. And that's not the case.
Which is true. Which is a lot of people actually are just working like 4 hours a week using AI and using all these tools and earning kind of same amount of money that a time job holder.
That's the exception again, not the rule. So basically, the remote, the flexible working, it's a thing now, and it's accepted everywhere. And as long as you produce the same quality and productivity. I mean, I work remotely. It's completely fine. You can get the same results out of that. However, dictate that taken away. It's just more opportunities and more. So, for example, you would have never in your wildest dreams imagine that you can be cooperating with teams from Singapore and Canada and Norway in the same team settings and working on the same project. But that's the case now. So I think AI will open new opportunities similar to this. We don't know about it yet, but I think you can have a team of designer who's a human and an AI develop designer. So you can have a combination of both. So you can have a team that incorporates 3 or 4 AI.
Have you seen that
tools in-
video of Devon AI and the AI developer, world's first AI software engineer?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so
I might watch it.
it's kind of, again an AI tool like ChatGPT, but it has like its own command line. It has own. I mean, you just give it up, explain your project, what you want in your wording.
Mm.
It will not only write the complete code, it will deploy it. It will like make it on localhost. It will like completely functional.
Mm.
It will make it live, and then you can actually do amendments, and it will do amendments automatically. Apply it,
Mm.
and if there is any error, it will for the solution. It will apply that solution on that error.
Mm.
Like every
Oh, I think I've seen the video that you mean. I've
Yeah.
seen the video that you mean. And here's the thing: it requires a human to criticize the product, modify on it, and then do it. So it didn't replace the it just made his work much faster and improved his productivity. So that's the argument that you are going for, isn't it? That it will replace. No, but I think from that video that you just mentioned, it didn't replace the developer. It just made his life a little bit easier. So instead of him wasting 3-4 days to come up with the way to troubleshoot the errors and the bugs and fix them, it made it a matter of few hours.
Yeah, of course.
So
Okay.
it didn't replace him, it just made his productivity multiplied by 20 or something.
Of course. Okay, we're gonna conclude now. My question is, what do you have for education system of Egypt or for Pakistan, like the third world country's education system, and what do you think that the positive sides of this would be implemented there, or the positive sides of that education system that should be implemented here?
Okay, I think we should integrate both merits of the system. And I think, in my head and in my opinion, what I think would be a perfect scenario for an educational environment is where we encourage talent. We find, so basically not all students are going to excel at the same path or the same topics or the same subjects. They're going to be different, and our people in the educational system and the educational system as a whole needs to realize these areas of excellence for students. So identify the talent and then nurture it, and that a healthy student mentally and physically and academically well. So it creates a student who knows that he's appreciated for his talents, not for something that we want to fit him into, not on that is forced on him. He needs to know the basics. So to get on with life, he needs to be confident in his basic knowledge. He needs to be able to express himself in a proper language, and he needs to be able to understand the basic concept of chemistry, biology, physics, laws, and so on. However, the main focus should be on his talent. What does he excel at, and what does he like, and what is he motivated to do, and then nurture that and help him to grow in that field. Also, I think we should focus more on motivation rather than assessment. So students who are motivated will for themselves, and they have access to the answers apparent to everybody. Basically, if they have a phone, they can reach any kind of information that you are going to share with them, or any problem that you are going to give them. They can solve it using their phone, and it's there. So if they didn't have the motivation to learn, it's a very difficult situation.
Sorry, just one question, maybe not last question, but how much the for the student? That's the one question. I'm gonna ask another question is, I have seen like a lot of students have like smartphones and iPhones, and here especially, and they are so much involved in all that, and like at the age of like 15 now they have ADHD. Now they cannot focus better because they are just their mind is like going too fast. They cannot leave their phone for a second.
Mm.
How much do you think that it's going to affect them on their personalities and on their real life, like the normal family life, let's suppose?
Yeah, so you are right. There has been a lot of research that relates ADHD to the use of technology, and our brains are not designed to with of constant notification, constant gamification, constant attraction. So here is a good advice, and I follow that. So I'm not just saying it. It's no notification times. So for example, for this podcast, I set my phone to no notification settings, and it's quite powerful mental trick that you can do. Basically, when you want some time to be for work or for concentrating on what you're doing, you need to have your phone away and you need to put it on airplane mode or no notification mode.
Mm.
No notification mode helps because if there is an emergency, I would still know about it, because if there's an emergency, someone will call. But it's down these other applications that are always trying to get your attention. So, for example, social media, I turn off the notification on social media and just turn it on when I'm available and when I need.
No, but
when I need it.
what for instance, I mean, for what about the younger people, like younger
Mm.
generation, because they are not. I mean, they were born with this technology, and now they are already into
It's
it. And
embedded in their
Yes,
in their everyday. So I think it's the challenge here is not taking it away from them, because
Mm.
there is no taking it away from them.
yeah,
It's teaching them to put limit to
yeah,
it's basically pointing out that this could be a dangerous tool if it's misused.
do you think that we should give phones, or like especially with, like, smartphones,
Mm.
to students? I mean, at what age should we give them? And I mean,
It's different from, so for example, if a student is at a boarding school or away from his family, he needs to have access to a
All the
phone.
time?
Not all the time, but for example, our school have no phone policy, and I think a lot of companies are employing no phone policy in office time. So you are not allowed to go on Facebook or any social media while you are at work. Most schools are applying the same policy, so you are not allowed to use your phone in the school day, which is a good approach. I think at home as well, they need to have at least a couple of hours that are dedicated for studying and homework and no phone time. But taking it away from a student is just, it needs to be controlled. So there are so many applications that parents can use to control their of technology, iPads and iPhones and whatever. So screen time basically, and also it's a built-in feature
Mm.
in the phone for digital well-being. So if you have an Android or iOS phone, there is a digital well-being feature in there that allows you to limit the number of hours that you spend on a screen, and allows you to limit the number of minutes that you can spend on an application. So for example, at the moment I have 30 minutes limit on my Facebook app, and I'm trying to bring that down to 20 minutes. So
all right, in a day.
yeah, 30 minutes.
Wow.
a day.
Okay,
It's
that's
quite
good.
good.
Yes, no, that's good.
Yeah, I'm trying to reduce it even more, because I think it's a trend that everybody's trying to like regain that kind of like mentality of
Right.
well-being, and
Right.
I need to stay away from digital screens as long as possible to be able to focus.
All right.
Yeah, so
Any final remarks for students or the parents based in third world countries?
yeah, I think encouraging reading is quite important, because I hear that students are encouraged to read more when they are young. It doesn't matter what material they are reading, as long as they are enjoying it and they like it. So have as many books as possible, and there are a lot of websites that sell used books or new books for a price. And also, like, if you are in a community or a village or a compound that you can share the books, so students get bored really easily. So try to exchange the books with your relatives, with your friends. Make it like exchanging toys or hand-me-downs. So exchange books constantly. Libraries are still a thing, so they can visit the library to read more. Focus on they are interested in reading, because I think the highest problem that I'm currently facing is is basically oracy, ability to understand and read uh, complex words and complex concepts. So the more the students read, the better they become at education in general.
All right, cool.
Okay.
All right, so I think this podcast might be very helpful for a lot of people. So I try to like convey ask all of the questions that I had in my mind. So I hope you guys would have loved it. If you guys have loved it, just do let us know, because we can arrange another remote
Yeah,
podcast.
sure. If you have any questions regarding
Yeah.
education, and
If there will
this
be
is
any
serious.
good response, and if there will be any good like you can say questions in our comment section.
Yeah, definitely.
So
and
we can
any,
do
any questions about
Yeah.
the difference between the American education system and testing, which is SAT, and the assessment in the UK, which is OCR or EdXL or OCR-MEI. What are the differences between those? Or if you have a specific question about like how can I find resources about this subject or so on, of course I can do that if
Perfect.
it's needed.
Thank you so much, sir.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thanks.